Hello everybody, I'm SJM. Welcome back to episode 3 of Valhelsia 5. As mentioned in episode 1, mod pack is still in development and will be undergoing changes as we go along. For all of the latest on anything Valhelsia related, as always, reference you back to their main website, valhelsia.net. Does have all of their quick links on the side here as well, and their mod packs down here, Valhelsia 5. Do have to mention here we've already got an update, so the change log for going to 0.2 beta update. They've added a couple of mods in here, so all of the integrated dynamics things were added in. Rotten creatures, I had a quick look on here. Just looks like they added in some zombie variants there, so you'll find some more interesting variations for the zombies. Don't know if they've got special abilities and whatnot. I'm not super familiar with Rotten Creatures itself. And then Young's better dungeons, mine shafts, and strongholds have been added in here as well. The strongholds, definitely interesting. I don't know that I've actually experienced it myself. I think this is the one with the different eyes of Ender, but I'm not 100% sure. But the dungeons and the dungeons I've definitely have a little bit of experience with, and is one of the reasons why I didn't do a heck of a lot of world exploration, because when they add things like this in, you'll have to go to newly generated chunks to be able to find them. So definitely one of the reasons not to do a whole bunch of exploring in the while the pack is undergoing these things. But yeah, daytime seems to be coming up here. This episode will be going through the rest of the Ars Nouveau early game stuff. I'm just going to outline all of the basics for you so that you don't have to read through pages and pages and pages of this book, which I have already kind of done, and just kind of pick out all of the highlights for getting through the early game in the pack here. So with the spell book there, I went down and tried to do some branch mining, and you run out of mana real quick when you've just got the spell book, and wasn't truly like a good experience there. Kind of handy for doing something here and there, but not for dedicated tasks like fighting with the magic missile or the harm spell, or making or doing any significant amounts of mining. So let's just have a quick look around and make sure that there's nothing here to surprise us before we get started. Oh, that's fine. We'll ignore him for now. Okay, no creepers creeping and no skeletons waiting to snipe us. You can see here from my screenshot in the last episode, I did get a lot of this stuff figured out, and basically don't have to mess around too much here. We'll just be pointing everything out as we go along, and you can always look up crafting recipes in REI over here. Using an @ symbol in front of the name of the mod will show you all of the things from the mod. So just @Ars is going to show us all of the items from Ars Nouveau, and if it had any like companion mods, they would be in here as well. So we'll just, as we saw in that change log there, if we look at integrated dynamics, this will show us all of the integrated related things. So integrated NBT, integrated dynamics, the base mod, and tunnels, right? So if you really wanted to just see the integrated dynamics, then you'd have to type it out a little bit further, but just generally going there, you can find most things that way. So the first thing that we need to get into with Ars Nouveau to get into crafting further along is this little guy here called the Imbuement Chamber. Oh, and if we just hit sneak, does that show us that there? No, but we can just use control with Okay, sneak and right click. And that'll show us the installment in the book there if we're holding the book. If I wasn't holding the book, you could hold control and it'll look it up for you as well. Just made with some of these archwood planks and a couple of gold ingots, and it gets us the imbuement chamber. Basically, to get source gems, you'll need to either put what's this stuff called? Lapis, or you could also use amethyst in there. And in Ars itself, there is a dowsing rod, which is pretty easy to make, just costs another piece of gold and a couple of ingots. And this will, when you use it, you will be able to find amethyst down in the, down underground. So if you want amethyst for all the different things, mostly used in Ars, but you can also get the spyglass if you want to zoom feature and other neat things that amethyst can do. Then you can make this dowsing rod to make finding one of the geodes a lot faster and easier. Otherwise, if you if you didn't run across any of the lapis while you're down in the mines there. I've got up a little bit of automation here. You can't fully automate this because if you put a hopper underneath the imbuement chamber to pull out, it will just pull out the lapis as it gets shoved in there. So it's a little bit of a manual process, but not too bad. Just grab that there, and then you've got your source gems, which will get you into crafting a lot of the other, one of the main crafting things in, or the first basic thing that we need, because we do need the source gems to get into crafting the rest of the things, so, or the items. So a source jar doesn't require anything yet, but we do need just to make some slabs and a couple of pieces of glass. And as I mentioned before, we made the agronomic source link, which this is where we're going to start needing source gems. So just a piece of wheat, couple of gold, and 2 source gems get this agronomic source link. Anytime a crop grows within a certain range of it, does it say it in here? Yes, so 5 blocks. And just note that I'm not sure about other magical means for growing crops. So like there's a grow spell in Ars. I don't know if that causes it to trigger this, but I think it only works off of natural growth ticks. But something like, say, what's the mod that I'm thinking of there? It's not in this pack just yet, but I'm sure it'll come along sooner or later. Let me throw it on a quick pause while I look it up. Mystical agriculture, that's the one I'm thinking of. So mystical agriculture can speed up crop growth in different ways, like growth accelerators, etc. I think those cause natural growth ticks, so that will help with this, but maybe not things that cause bone mealing effects. So once we get source going, that'll help fill these source jars. Just to note, when you have a hoe in your hand, you can do area harvesting, right? So that does a 3x3 if I'm not mistaken. So just makes things a little bit quicker if you want to do some bulk harvesting while you're trying to get a lot of your source up and running. So if you go off and do a bunch of tasks, come back to a nice full crop field, just makes it a little bit quicker. You just right click with the hoe and it'll do the area harvesting for you. And yeah, on this here, I was, just trying to get a bunch of source ready to go for the episode. So I was doing all that, and I was ending up with a lot of leftover crops that I just don't want piling up in my storage. So I've just been dropping it all off into this little setup there with a hopper going into a composter, and that's going to spit out bone meal down at the bottom there, because once we get into the next step, then we're going to want to have some bone meal if you want to just kind of speed things up a little bit there. the next step after we're getting some source gems and we're getting some source is we're going to want to expand our magical abilities. And that is done through getting Mage Armor. This is going to be the main way to do it. There's a few different kinds that you can make. And it's made with different armor types, first of all. So to make a Sorcerer's Foot Pad, you will need to get the Enchanting Apparatus. The Enchanting Apparatus, when you place 4 of these Mage Bloom fibers and a golden piece of armor, will get you the Sorcerer's version. To get Arcanist, then you would use iron with, again, these Mage Bloom fibers. And then there's the diamond version, which is the Battle Mage. They've got different abilities in there. It doesn't really say in here, does it? What advantages they give. Okay, so you can read up in here on each of them there. You can do upgrades on the armor, so each of the different kinds. So Sorcerer Set provides least defense but gets you more powerful slots. And then the Battle Mage gets you better defense but weaker slots, and so on and so forth. So they've got their advantages, and you'll just want to kind of mix and match on what you want to do there. There's a little table here. I'm not 100% on reading that just yet, but we'll get there eventually. Just note that this Enchanting Apparatus, when you make it, does have to be put on top of the Arcane Core. So you need to make an Arcane Core, an Enchanting Apparatus, and then we'll also need some of these Arcane Pedestals to get into the next phase, or getting these Mage Bloom plants here. So to get the Mage Bloom seeds, in ours, we'll just go back to here. On an Enchanting Apparatus, you'll need 4 source gems and any kind of seed. So our REI is updated here. It shows you all the different kinds of seeds. It doesn't have to be the vanilla wheat seed. It could be a pumpkin seed. It can even be modded seeds like carrots and cabbage and rice, etc. Tomatoes, whatever. It'll all work. So you just put your pedestals down anywhere within 3 blocks of the Enchanting Apparatus, and I just made the 4 so I could put 4 source gems, and I put the seed there, and I've got 2 of these Mage Bloom seeds, which are, it's enough for now. Don't need a whole heck of a lot to get started, especially if you've got the bone meal set up, especially on a larger farm. And then just right clicking on any plant actually will harvest it for you without breaking the actual plant. Like if you left click it, right? Left click it, then I'd have to go and manually replant. You'll never get seeds back from these Mage Bloom flowers, so just note that if you want to make multiples, you're going to have to do that process a couple of different times. But once we have these Mage Blooms themselves, you put them in the crafting grid, and then they'll get you the fibers. So the fibers are what you'll need to get into your gear, and it's also what you're going to need to get into making the new glyphs. And then this is the next step in getting more powerful spells. I do have to admit to here is I was wrong in that last episode there. The novice spellbook only does iron level harvesting. So we can't break, and I found a piece of obsidian over at a ruined nether portal. But as we can see here, the break spell will not break the obsidian because it requires diamond level, right? Whereas we can break a piece of dirt or ores pretty easily with it, but we can't get there. We'll need to get a new glyph, and it's the one glyph we'll make together, and the rest of it I'll leave to you to do your own experimentation and discovery, because that's one of the funnest things about modded. But sometimes the grind and getting there, which is kind of what I aim to kind of eliminate in a lot of my playthroughs and going. So we'll need a scribe table, and we'll need this spell parchment as well. The spell parchment is made with 4 source gems and a piece of blank parchment. The blank parchment requires paper and 8 mage bloom fibers, which is why I got 2 plants going, so that every time I want to make an upgrade, a new glyph, then I've got them handy and ready to make. Paper has got a couple of different recipes now in this pack. If you're on a beach area, banana fronds will turn straight into paper. Of course, there's the traditional sugar cane. And then there's also sawdust from Mechanism if you're that far. There's also tree bark, which you can get from Farmer's Delight if you make a cutting knife and a cutting board. And then you just put on a piece of wood on the cutting board. Oh, you need an axe, not a knife, sorry. And then that will strip the log and get you the tree bark. So you don't have to rely on sugarcane. As you can see, I haven't planted any sugarcane around here, and I've actually got my paper already. So to make this glyph that I want to make here is this amplify. You need to have a diamond pickaxe, and it goes basically you'll put the scroll down on the table, and then you would grab your diamond pickaxe, and there's a couple of different ways to do it. You can throw the ingredients at the scribe's table, and then it will absorb it and make the glyph for you. And I'm also just going to show you the alternate method is if you have an inventory close by the scribe's table, such as this chest here, it will pull from that as well. To use the scribe's table, you just have to be holding your mage book, shift and right. What am I missing here? Hold on, I'm missing something. I had it all set up and I've made a mistake, so let me figure it out and we'll be right back. It's not shift and right click, it's just right click. And it'll open up all these glyphs here. Just note that there are different tiers of glyphs, which you can see over here, and you need the required upgraded spell books to be able to make the spells to use these glyphs. So say I wanted to have an area of effect, I do need to upgrade my spell book first before I can use a tier 2 glyph on inside one of my spells. Luckily for us, the Amplify is in the tier 1, so we'll be able to do that right away. And it's all set right there. So if I just click on that, select, it's going to right there, and it pulls the item out of the nearby inventory and makes the glyph for us. We'll pick up that glyph. We just right click on the glyph and it will be added to our novice spellbook. And then I'm going to open my spellbook with the key, and if I add this amplify to our break spell, it will upgrade the level of harvesting that we can do with it. So really, I thought that would be able to break obsidian at this next level. Let's just see. Open the spellbook. Oh, I know what I didn't do. Haha. You have to make sure you click this create. I've done this so many times, I can't believe I forgot again, but you just do that, and now we've got an amplified break which can break obsidian. So now I've just got to go down to my mines, find a lava pool. I don't think I have any lava pools close by here. No, there is this ruined nether portal up here, but that's a bit far to go. I could go to this one, I guess, rather than searching around underground, because I haven't found a lava pool just yet. Then I can get my obsidian, because we'll need to go to the nether if we want to upgrade our spell book. So we just look at this, the crafting here for the tier 2 spell book. We'll need our original spell book, a piece of obsidian, 3 diamonds, blocks of quartz, and blaze rods. So we'll need to go to the nether and do some fighting, or maybe get lucky with some chests. I'm not sure if we can find blaze rods just lying around in the nether. Maybe not. Not 100% sure on that there. Yeah, to get the next step there, and then the tier 3 requires a lot more nether stars. You'll have to fight a special boss to be able to get there. You'll have to get yourself a totem of undying, either from a pillager raid, or going through a woodland mansion to be able to get the Archmage's spellbook. Just one thing to note when you are making the Mage Armor, notice how this has mending on, already enchanted on it. This one is mending as well. And this one has vengeance too. Not sure what it does, but I got really, really lucky with this abandoned nether portal up here, in that it had 3 pieces of enchanted golden armor in it. Or maybe I found some in my initial exploration as well. But anyways, the enchantments, when you use the enchanting apparatus, will carry over onto the mage armor that you craft. So just to note there, if you do have pre-enchanted gear, you can use it to make your mage gear. So the one tricky thing that I wanted to go over, that kind of when you are getting into making your own glyphs, is that the imbuement chamber will be needed to make essence. So if you find on one of the crafts or on one of the glyphs that you want to make that it requires an essence, you will need to either craft more of the pedestals and place it close to the imbuement chamber, or you could just pick up these ones and use it on the imbuement chamber, or put it close by the imbuement chamber to place these items on it. So you'll need a gunpowder, a torch, a flint and steel. So you'll need 3 nearby pedestals, and you'll need some. This does require source, I believe, to craft up these. It doesn't show it in this recipe here, but you can see for earth essence, water essence, and this is all available through REI as well. If you're looking at it in there, pretty simply, like, we go to Glyph of Exile, and then you click on the air essence. You can see it in there, just if you need a quick reminder. You don't have to go shifting through the book. Oh, and it does have the source cost in there. So 2,000 source. I'm not sure exactly how much source is in a jar. If you know, you can let me put it down in the comments, but I'm not sure exactly how much source fits in one of the jars. But that is just, and then with the crafting of the glyphs or the essences, you'll need to have the source jar within 2 blocks of this as well. You can speed up the creation of the source gems with source, but it's not worth it in my opinion. You just kind of come by and collect up a source gem and then put back in another piece there to let that work itself, but you will need the source for doing the essences. So I think that's everything for getting started into Ars, and then I'll leave the rest up to you folks there to go out, experiment, find handy dandy little things that you can do with your spells, and do that discovery for yourself. I appreciate you all for checking out the episode, and we will see you in the next one.